hello and welcome back. I hope you have been doing well. So, if you're here for the first time, hello and welcome once again. My name is Soma. I make videos on motivation, inspired living, and work life balance. If you have been watching me for a while, thank you very much once again for joining in. And let's get started. So, today we are going to talk about a very important topic. If you're a kind of person who is looking forward to your professional life, your career growth, and your roadmaps. So without much ado, we are going to talk about finding your mentor. And we're going to talk all about mentorship, the journey, and how you're going to find a mentor, things you should be prepared for even before you consider looking for a mentor. So get yourself a cup of iced tea, coffee, and yep, let's get started. So the one thing that everybody looks forward to in life is to be successful. No matter your geographic location, where you're from, which country, which city, the town you were born in, everybody dreams of becoming successful in their life. However, not everyone can achieve success. There are a couple of things that has to be considered, and today we are going to talk about the important factor of how a mentor can actually help you succeed. Now, of course, you will come across and say success for everyone is different. So maybe for you, it's buying your first home or getting the bike you have been looking forward to, or taking a vacation alone. It could be getting into the ideal job, your dream job that you have been looking for. It could be making X amount of money, having that title that you wanted for so long. Basically, success is varied across all different kinds of people. But one thing that binds everyone together, and all successful people, well, at least most of the successful people, is the fact that everyone has a mentor. From Bill Gates to Steve Jobs to Mark Zuckerberg to anybody else, like everybody will talk about having that one person in their life who made a huge difference in their professional growth and their professional life. Okay, so point number one, why do you need a mentor? Well, because you do not want to reinvent the cycle once again. You do not want to get into the trappings and the failures of the system. You need a mentor because you want to get ahead of your peers. You want to have that competitive edge in you. You need the wisdom of somebody who has been in that journey before you years ago. You need a mentor because he or she is that one person who can look at your future, your potential, and groom you towards that. A mentor does not look at who you are right now or what you have been. A mentor connects you to what you can do or what you're trying to be, to what your real potential is. And that is why a mentor is so important to have. A mentor will give you the jump start you need in your career. Somebody who will go ahead and help you out, give you the right coaching, the right direction, guide you through the entire process, but also at the same time listening to you and understanding what you are looking for. So question number two, how do you find a mentor? Well, you can find mentor in a lot of varied ways. One, you can ask for recommendations from your friend and family. Two, you can actually look for mentors when you go to attend a webinar or sessions. It usually is or should be people who are known as subject matter experts in your domain. It is the domain you're currently in and you're looking forward to continue in, or it could be the domain that you would want to be 5 years down the line. So mentorship is always about the future than the present. You can also look for a mentor online. You can research somebody based on what you have heard or read, and or you look up to and respect in your domain, could be via LinkedIn, could be multiple other sources, and you can just go ahead and approach them. But before we even get into the topic of how you approach a mentor and the homework that you need to do, you have to make sure you're crystal clear on why you're looking for mentorship. While mentorship is something that everyone should get into, you have to understand that mentorship requires a lot of work on your part, because a mentor is not only a very important subject matter expert or a very busy and important person in your domain and industry, which means the person will have less and less time. So for that person to agree to take you up as a mentee is an endorsement by itself on what he or she thinks about you. So if you are getting that opportunity, you have to be very sure that you will have to put in the time and the effort. Now, there are a couple of things that you have to consider when you're even thinking of getting a mentor. First, you have to, again, be sure about the path that you're going to take. Are you looking for a mentor in your current domain? Are you looking for a mentor in a different domain, you first have to decide that and then go into it. The importance of thinking about it is because of the fact that it's just not your mentor putting in the time, it's you putting in the time and effort as well. So you would rather put your time and effort into something that has a future for you or you're looking forward to, then put it into something that all goes to waste in a few years time because you just are not sure about things. Number two, you have to be clear about whether you're looking for a mentor locally, as in your own city, maybe a person whom you can meet up for a cup of coffee and talk about your career, or are you looking for a mentor anywhere in the world globally because you have heard their names or they are rather famous in their own domain, or this is the person you look up to and this is who you want to become. So before you even think and say, no, I want to have a global mentor because it just sounds very cool, you have to understand the problem that you're trying to resolve by finding a mentor. Now, let's say you're looking for a mentor because you want to understand how to maneuver through the local corporate culture and get ahead of your peers and get that title or that promotion that you're looking for. A mentor can only do that if the mentor has that understanding of how your corporates or the local culture works or the impacts and influences of it. In this case, specifically, you need to have someone local who understands that. Finding a mentor across the ocean does not help because the culture and the way a corporate works will be completely different. The dynamics of the people, the do's and don'ts are completely different in this case. So you have to analyze what you're looking for and then find your mentor. The other thing you have to consider when you're trying to decide whether you want to go local or global is the fact that the time zone difference. Now, let's say you're looking for a mentor that does not stay in your own city, and you have to be very sure that the mentor will not will not maybe the mentor cannot work around your schedule and your time, right? You have to work around the mentor schedule, which means sometimes the time zone or the overlaps might not work. It could be in those cases that you have to wake up rather early or you have to take a call middle of the night. If you are okay with those situations and you're certain you can handle it, only then you should go for a mentor that is located somewhere else. If you're not comfortable doing that, you have to look for a local mentor. Even if you're not meeting up for coffee, you can at least you're in the same time zone to have a quick catch up over phone. So, the other thing is your own portfolio, your own readiness. You cannot just go to a mentor with a vague question about how do I grow in my career. You have to give them something solid to work on, something substantial, which means you have to break down your questions into real questions and aspects, and you have to do your own research, and you can always go back and say, this is what I want to do. I want to become a subject matter expert on this domain. And this is what I have found so far. And I've researched all the people who are doing rather well in this domain, including you. And I see this is your background, this is the trend, this is a commonality I found across the people who are successful in the domain. Do you think this is the road I should follow? Or is there something new that's coming up that I should also consider while I'm thinking about XYZ factors? So, what I'm trying to say here is that you have to be very clear that you have to put in a lot of time and research and getting things done to ensure that your mentor thinks you're not only respecting their time, you're also serious about this mentorship journey. Another question you have to consider is how long do you want this journey to continue? Are you looking to resolve a particular problem, or are you looking for a specific information and that's it, and then you think, my journey with the mentor is over? Or are you looking at someone that you want to continue for years? And of course, you have your right to decide as much as the mentor does if both of you are willing to continue this over a period of time. Needless to say that your mentor has to be invested in your career, which means he or she has to think that you are doing something well and you have a future and a potential for them to invest their time for you, for your career growth. You gain more from a mentor than a mentor probably gains from you. So you have to always keep that in mind and then be very aware of that. Okay, so we talked about how to find a mentor, things that you need to ensure that you're ready with. And so the next question automatically would be, what are you looking for in a mentor? Other than the fact that they are subject matter experts and somebody who really is trying to help somebody else out there. I think the three factors that you can consider and maybe should consider while looking for a mentor is their availability. Now, by availability, I of course mean that don't push someone hard. Like, for example, if it's a family friend that cannot say no to you, but you feel like the person is not as invested or not as available and is trying to tell you a no, that, maybe we'll look into it in the future. How about you give me a call 3 months later? Which means the person is not available right now. Even if you push through that and somehow get the mentor to work with you and say yes, it will not be sustainable over a period of time. So you have to respect the time and the availability of the mentor. The other part could be maybe your mentor agrees and you start in the mentorship journey, but somewhere down the line things change and your mentor gets busy and is not available anymore. We also have to respect their time when they come out and say no. So you cannot take it personally and say, oh, maybe I'm not doing a good job, or maybe, things went wrong. I mean, it could be you're not putting in as much effort as the mentor expected you to be. It could also be really the mentor got busy and does not have the time available as much as he or she thought they would be able to. So there is a very fine balance on how much you can push and how aggressive you can be and not be. And you have to be very conscious of the way you're responding back and the communication that you are getting into with your mentor as well. The other part could be the level of expertise. And I think this is very important because let's say you're a newbie fresh out of college, a graduate. You cannot look for a mentor who has probably like 30 years of experience, because it does not match. You really don't need to find a mentor who is at a very senior level, maybe like a VP of a company or CEO, because you have a long way to go even before you consider or think about it. So maybe getting a mentor who has like 8 to 10 years of experience at that given point of time would suffice for you. You have to understand, for a mentor to be invested in your career, there has to be some sort of a sync, a personal connect, as in, I see myself in you. This is how I used to be when I was your age. And that can only happen when there is a certain span of time that we can remember things about or we can connect to. What I did 40 years ago probably might not bring in as much connect and interest in me. So let's say a CEO might be more invested in mentoring somebody who is trying to become a CEO or trying to change something in their industry, domain, or globally. A CEO might not be as invested in mentoring a fresh grad, right? So I think, understand what you're looking for, be clear about the skill set that you need in a mentor, and then accordingly approach the mentor. You want to approach people, I mean, if you're putting in the time and effort, you want to approach people where the chances of them saying a no to you is minimal. So of course you have to do your work. When you send out the email or when you call them over phone, you have to go with enough work done so they're impressed by you. At least initially it has to be that they think you are someone worthy of their time. And as you progress in the mentorship journey, of course you have to be very candid and open with the person. You cannot hold back and say the things that you are trying to avoid, or you're trying to be like politically correct, because then there's no point in having this relationship. There are lots of companies who have internal mentorship program, and if you work in one of those companies, it's one of the best ways to get yourself initiated into the mentorship journey, because your organization is already doing the part to match you up with someone they think is the right person for you. Now, while you can start with that, there is nothing wrong in finding another mentor outside the organization, because there could be things that you are not comfortable discussing within your organization, or someone from within your organization, and that's completely fine. You just have to ensure you're not taking too much on your plate, because you have your work commitments, you also have your life. And if you're taking in lots of mentors, could be because of various reasons that you're trying to resolve or look into, that could mean a lot of work. So it could be a possibility that you cannot handle the pressure and the effort it takes from on your part to work with multiple mentors. So I think the suggestion would be you start with one, you see how it goes, and as you work with mentors, you understand their pace, you understand what they're looking for, you have a connect, and then you work on it. And after a certain point, if you think you have that time, the willingness, and the motivation to have another mentor in your life because you're trying to resolve another aspect of your career, or you have met somebody really wonderful who is happy to give you the advice, then yeah, definitely go for it. But then again, it's a lot of work. Mentorship is not taken for the sake of getting into that journey. That journey means commitment, effort, hard work, and yeah, the ability to show that you're doing your part. So I really hope this has been useful for you, and at least if you even if you don't decide to have a mentor immediately, you can think of it or plan for future. So you can get started with your own portfolio, you can start your own blog, you can start something um, that that can show to your mentor that this is the person that I'm working with, this is how they think, this is what they're doing, this is what they're trying to change. And it just makes things much more easier, because once again, I'll repeat that you're working with your mentor not for the past, not for the present, but for the future. So just sending them across your resume does not work, because resume only talks about what you've done in the past. It could be a point of context, it could be a referral point for them, but it's definitely not who you are. So look for a mentor that you can connect to. Look for a mentor where, if possible, you have something in common. Then it's much more easier to connect than going for a person like completely randomly and then you do not connect. And when things don't work, I think you as a mentee have the right to be vocal about it and say it's not working, or maybe put it in a nicer way and say, maybe once you're free, we can catch up maybe a couple of months later. I'll follow up in 3 months time, and if you have some time or availability, I'll be happy to reconnect again. I think what it does is, while you're not like completely getting out of the mentorship zone, you're still putting it out there and you're allowing your mentor to decide whether he or she wants to continue with you. I think that is much more respectful than just, there's a call scheduled and you don't come for the call. You're not there. So, yeah, I hope this has been helpful to you. And if you, no matter your age, your expertise, or the domain that you work in, I think everyone needs a mentor. So, Bill Gates works with Warren Buffett, or Mark Zuckerberg used to work with Steve Jobs. There are multiple people, all successful people at every level, that still needs a mentor, can find a mentor. Consider yourself like looking for a coach who understands your potential better than you, who will push you, motivate you, get you to do things done even when like you think things will not work out. Because you know what, they are seeing things objectively, they are seeing things from like an aerial view, from high above, and they can see the flaws, they can see the mistake, they can see the entire landscape, and they can tell you this is the best way to go for. So if you decide to go for a mentor, or you have a mentor and things have worked out great for you, or you had a challenge, let me know how things have been for you. It's a rather interesting topic, and everyone I usually meet, because I have my own mentor, and I first started thinking about getting a mentor, I think like it's been more than 15 years now, and it has worked out great. I mean, I do not talk to my mentor every month now, but then once in a while I'll still exchange emails, or we'll set up a call and we'll talk. So I think, yeah, I think every person should think about it, no matter whether you're in business, you're in job, you're a freelancer, whatever you're trying to do. Second hand of opinion that comes with a lot of experience and wisdom is never a bad thing, is never a bad thing to have. So thank you very much once again for joining in. I hope you're enjoying the summers, and yep, I'm going to see you next week again. So thanks, and see you later. Bye bye.